Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Nathan Fox, one of the founders of LSATdemon.com and our weekly podcast, Thinking LSAT. With me is Erik Johannson, a teacher at LSAT Demon. Erik, we've got a long email here from Anonymous.
Yeah, Anonymous asks if it's okay for a non-LSAT Demon student to submit questions for the podcast. Yes, you made
of
it.
course.
Yeah, we welcome questions from all.
We wouldn't make a free podcast if we didn't want to hear from everybody.
Yeah. All right. So Anonymous writes, I've heard many times on the podcast that you shouldn't apply to law school until you have the absolute best score that you can possibly get, even if this means delaying a cycle or two. I do not disagree with this in the slightest, and I know how it feels like that should settle the issue, but I've had a hard time convincing my parents of this. I've taken the LSAT 4 times now, scoring a 159 in June 2023, a 157, a 163, and most recently a 165. However, I have gotten practice tests above these scores, and I know with enough prep, I could get into the 170s, but instead of delaying my apps by one cycle, my parents have put forth two alternative proposals. And I appreciate your thoughts on if these are viable or if there are any cases where they would be. So sounds like a two-option ultimatum from the parents. I got a question, which is, are the parents paying for law school? Because that will make a big difference.
That was going to be my question as well. Well, they also could be paying Anonymous's rent. You know, are you living at home? They call shots in a different way when they're the ones that are footing the bill.
Mm-hmm.
They might be paying for your LSAT prep, paying for your law school applications. You know, there's lots of reasons why they are going to be the ones that make the decision. But, well, let's hear these proposals out, and then I'll give my 2 cents.
Proposal number 1, I apply for this current cycle. I have my LORs and essays ready to submit in December and shoot for the best schools that I can. Worst case, if nothing pans out, I still have another LSAT attempt left, and I retake and reapply early next cycle. Are there any concerns with reapplying to the same school in this way?
No, but you're concerned about the wrong thing. We have, I get a lot of data on what goes on with law school admissions because I'm close to my, I hear from my students and podcast listeners, but I also hear from the people who work for us at LSAT Demon, several of whom, including Erik, are applying this cycle, and they have already applied this cycle, and they have already gotten admissions decisions and scholarship decisions. I was talking to one of our team members yesterday who has multiple full rides in hand, including a stipend. So not only are they going to pay zero tuition, but the school is actually going to pay them to go there potentially. And that's what happens if you apply early broadly with your best LSAT. If you apply in December, you're basically like lining yourself up to be the person who pays for the scholarships of these people who applied with better LSAT than you did, better GPA potentially than you did, earlier in the cycle, applied to more schools. You know, they're going to be just skimming all the cream off, and you're going to be the one that's just kind of getting the remainders, or literally actually paying for their scholarships, because they're paying zero and you're paying basically double what the actual tuition is.
Yeah. And I want to say, Anonymous, in this option, you say, worst case, if nothing pans out, you can retake and reapply. Well, something will pan out. No matter when you apply in the cycle, something will pan out. But like Nathan said, that something is not going to be your best option. It will, however, be very tempting, especially if you have parents breathing down your neck who want to get you out of the house or off of
all your friends and family, and they're so proud of you, and they're going to be pushing you down this road, and then you're going to start getting the stupid letters that you get from the admissions folk, and they're, oh my God, look, you see that's got a hand signature on it. They're really interested in me. They really like me. They think look, it says right here that they think I'm going to be an excellent addition to they're excited to have me on campus. Yeah, okay, they wrote that to all the other thousands of people that they admitted. They're gonna eventually admit, like, by the way, more people reject them than they reject. So, like, they're
Except for a handful of schools. Yeah.
you're gonna except for a small handful of schools, basically, yeah, they're going to admit 2,000 people to try to build a class of 500. Oh, that would be a big law school. They're going to admit 1,000 people to try to build a class of 300 or something.
Mhm.
And most people are going to get those offers and go, yeah, nah, I got better offers elsewhere. But if you apply late in the cycle and you don't get, and you apply with not your best LSAT, you're only going to get one or two mediocre offers, and the worst case is not that you turn all those down and reapply next cycle. The worst case is that you accept a shitty offer. So the problem here, I would add that my problem with option one is that there just doesn't seem to really be any upside here. Like, we just know you're applying without your best LSAT. You're not going to get your best possible offers. So you're like shutting the door to your best offers and scholarships. Like, those are not even going to be possible. It's like you're denying yourself from all of those schools and all of those scholarship opportunities.
Yeah. I think part of this also depends on what Anonymous's GPA is, which we don't know, and what schools they actually want to go to, which we don't know. But yeah, you're correct. If your high score is a 165, but you know you can reach the 170s, you're leaving something on the table.
Yeah.
Let's see about option number 2. I apply
Okay.
for this current cycle. All right, well, already not a substantially different option. Option 2, I apply for this
Yeah.
current cycle and accept an offer at a lower ranked school that I could likely get into and be relatively happy with. However, I do this with the aim of transferring to a higher ranked school in my 2L
Oh,
year.
no. It's harder to transfer into a school than it is to just get into that school in the first place. Everybody thinks they're going to go to law school and then transfer into a better school. The reality is that it's just not that common. I have no idea where you are. I don't know what kind of schools you're interested in, but let's say that Georgetown is a school that, based on your LSAT and your GPA, Georgetown is currently out of reach. I mean, it does seem like it's out of reach based on your LSAT. I'm going to look at Georgetown's transfers. Georgetown is a huge school. Uh, 2,000 total students at the school,
I think
1,800
they
full time,
receive the
200 part
most
time.
applications of any law school. I could be wrong about that.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, DC is very lawyer
Yep.
focused. They got 10,000 applications last year. Let's look at the transfers in. So, this gigantic school with 2,000 students in the school, last year, they received 12 transfers from American, 11 transfers from George Washington, 8 transfers from University of Maryland. They took 6 from Washington and Lee. Boy, I wish they added this up because they did take 1 or
Yeah.
2 or 3 transfers from tons and tons of schools. But, like, okay, so they took, I see that they took 1, no, sorry. They took, where did that go? From Hastings. I saw Hastings on there.
The law school formerly known as.
For some reason, it's still, well, I guess that's last year it was called
Yeah.
Hastings. So, they took 3 transfers. I'm surprised that they took 3 transfers from Hastings. But the thing about that is that Hastings has like 500 1Ls. So your plan there is, okay, I'm going to go to Hastings, a clearly lesser law school than Georgetown. Not even close. Not close. Not the same planet. Like, those are two totally different law schools. They're different leagues of law schools.
Hmm.
Hastings is a regional school that, might do great in California, but probably not in big law. It's hard to get into big law. Georgetown, on the other hand, top 14 school, very good big law placement, located in DC, all kinds of prestigious clerkships and stuff. Just different planet. But then all you have to do at Hastings is go there and finish like in the top 3 out of 500 that were able to transfer.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. I'm
to
pulling up, and
Georgetown?
by the way, Anonymous, all of this information is available on the school's ABA 509 reports, which you can find at
That's what I'm
lsatdemon.com
looking at.
slash scholarships. I've
Yep.
the There are quite a few, or well, there are really not that many transfers into Georgetown when you consider the size of their school, which is very large. But let's look at American University, which is a lower ranked school in the DC area. 12 people came from American to go into Georgetown. The size of American's first year class is 408. So that's 12 people
Okay.
out of 408. We don't know from the 509s how many people applied for a transfer, but I have to imagine that it was more than 12 people. And if you look at
Yeah.
also on the 509s, the 50th percentile JD1 GPA for all
Yeah, that's
transfers
what I was
into
looking at too.
Georgetown, we got a 3.67. The 50th percentile JD1 GPA for transfers in was a 3.67. That is a high GPA
Yeah.
for law school.
Well, yeah, because an A minus is a 3.7, and they build law school GPAs around a B plus curve, which is a 3.3. So the average JD1 GPA, by the way, these are all people who had, like they had a 3.7 or whatever going into American.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they're in law school at American, if American is like most other law schools, they strictly curve their law school grades around a 3.3. So you've got like it's by definition, almost everybody is going to get a lower JD GPA than they did uh, uh um undergrad GPA. And then yeah, only the 3 point it's a 3.67 50th percentile transfer in. The 25th percentile transfer in is a 3.55. So you're getting like you have to be significantly above the curve. And these are, by the way, really narrow curves too. They just don't give very many A's at most law schools. Like they give more A minuses than they give A's. They're really strict
Mm.
about it. They give tons of B's, tons of B pluses, smattering of A minuses, and then it's going to be really rare to get an A. And it's also really rare to get like a C. And so you'll have to go to like the best school you can get into and then totally crush it against people who are probably higher LSAT, higher GPA than you were in the first place to have really any chance of transferring up to a better law school. So of option 1 and option 2, I don't know about you, Eric, but I'm more worried about option 2 than I am about option 1
Agreed. Yeah, I think if you have to pick between these two, like if your parents are going to disown you or kick you out of the house if you
if
don't
you don't
at least
apply this
apply,
cycle. Yeah.
then clearly you go with option one, but only if you truly are open to turning down bad offers, which can be done. I myself went through an admissions process and did not accept any offers.
Yeah.
I have had tutoring students who have done the same. I have also had tutoring students who said that they were going to do that, and then they just went ahead and went with whatever
Took a bad offer.
mediocre
That
offer
happens all
they
the
got.
time. Yeah, by the way, your cycle, I think you told me that this cycle's going better than last cycle?
Early returns
The
say
last time you
yes.
applied?
Early returns say yes.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
early, and I don't have all the info. I don't have scholarship offers yet, but I've heard back from 5 schools, and one of them was a school that waitlisted me last time, and I got in this time.
Nice. Um, I I think the best thing to do, Anonymous, is to show your parents our parents' night video. Ben and I are teaching it tonight, but the recording should be available if you go to lsat.link/parents. You should be able to see the whole class that we're going to teach tonight that's oriented toward explaining to parents what game their kid is really playing. And I have no doubt that your parents are well meaning here, but the best plan by far is for you to wait next cycle. One of the things that you could tell them is, Mom, Dad, this time next year, I will have multiple offers in hand. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to apply on September 1st of 2025. I'm happy that I've got my applications done. I'm happy I've got my personal statement, letters of recommendation, all that stuff's out of the way. But the biggest component of my application is the LSAT, and I still have 2 more attempts. Oh
One
no,
more, I
he's only
think.
got 1 more attempt, huh? He's got
One
1
more.
more official attempt. But you have to use that 1 more official attempt. You've gotten practice tests above your 165 on record. Mom, dad, I'm going to keep prepping. I'm going to get those PTs up into the 170s. I know I can do it. When I take the test again, I'm going to be a really good bet to apply to have higher than a 165. And if I do that, every single point is worth 10 or $15,000. And so like 5 more LSAT points is worth 75 grand. And you'll apply early, broadly, and you'll really put your best foot forward with your best LSAT. And yeah, tell them that in October, November of next year, you will start receiving offers. So it's not, you're not kicking the can down the road forever. It's like, no, mom, dad, it's just 1 more year and we will have some certainty by fall of next year.
Good luck. Keep us posted. Email daily at lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.